Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared, and we are about to play Red Rising. Let's take a look. I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. For your convenience, I've added chapter timestamps in the description to the different sections of the tutorial. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below the video so you don't miss any of my latest content. The Red Rising board game is fully based on the book series by Pierce Brown, which describes a color-based society of castes in a dystopian world. It's meant as an allegory for the racial struggles of the past, present, and our real world. This cautionary tale against judging people from the color of their skin instead of their character has some deep meanings and themes that make for a very interesting gaming experience. Players will each represent one of the houses trying to rise to power and gain followers. The world of Red Rising awaits. Let's see how to set up the game. Place the game board in the center of the table. Place the helium supply bin in the center on its marked space, full of all the red helium tokens. Shuffle together all the character cards and place the deck in the center of the board above the helium. From the shuffled deck, draw 2 cards for each board location and stagger them face up on top of each other so you can see their name, color, and core values. Players may always look at these cards, but may not change the order of them. The rising die should be set near the deck or helium tokens in the center. Place the gold sovereign token near the board or here by the Luna location. There are 6 house factions you can be in the game, each having a unique ability. Take all 6 house tiles and shuffle them. Deal 1 to each player to determine everyone's house. Keep the tile face up in front of you and gather the reference card matching your color. Deal everyone 5 character cards from the deck. This will be their private hand of cards to start the game with. Matching your house color, gather the card holder, fleet token, and 10 influence tokens. Every player's fleet token should go to the 0 space of the fleet track. If someone is the yellow Apollo house, give them the start player token. Otherwise, randomize who gets it. When playing a 2-player game, place 3 influence tokens in the Institute area of the board from an unused color. This helps to make the control of the Institute during the game more competitive. And now you're set up and ready to play. Players take turn after turn in clockwise order until the endgame condition is met. There are no rounds and the first player token never passes. Instead, once the end of the game is triggered, all players continue until everyone has had an equal number of turns. There are 2 possible actions you can take on a turn: lead or scout. The scout action is the lesser action and usually relegated to when the player doesn't want to play or alter the cards in their hand. To scout, simply draw the top card off the top of the deck and place it on any one of the 4 locations. Cover up the card below except the name, color, and core value of the topmost card there. Then gain the location's bonus action. The lead action is what you'll choose to do 99% of the time in the game. When doing the lead action, choose one of the cards in your hand to deploy face up to any of the 4 locations. If the card has this icon, meaning deploy, you should resolve the ability written next to it. You should do the deploy action unless it's not possible or gives the option not to, like if it's written as you may gain something. You may always deploy a card even if you're unable to resolve the deploy ability. After deploying a character and doing the deploy ability, you will gain a new card. You can choose the topmost card from a different location and gain the bonus action there, or take the top card off the deck and roll the rising die. It's important to distinguish when the game says to place a card versus deploy a card. Placing a card does not activate the location nor trigger any card's deploy ability. Deploying a card only happens when playing the card from your hand as part of your turn choosing to lead. Also, don't forget that when you deploy your character card, you don't gain the location bonus of where you place it. You place your card and must choose a different location to take a card and gain the location bonus from that location. The 4 locations on the board are Jupiter, Mars, Luna, and the Institute. Each has their own bonus action to them that players gain as part of their turn. So when gaining a card from one of the 4 locations during a lead action, or placing a card from the top of the deck to a location during a scout action, players can resolve the location's bonus. 4 of the 6 sides of the rising die correspond to these locations' bonuses as well. Don't gain the location bonus if you gain a card by some other means, such as a card saying to gain the top card from Luna. The Jupiter bonus action is to advance your fleet token along the fleet track. Just move it forward 1 space. If you reach the end, you can't advance any further. The Mars bonus lets you take 1 helium token from the supply. There's no limit to how many helium tokens you can have, and they're not meant to be a limited resource. At Luna, gain or keep the Sovereign token. This will trigger your house tile's ability. Resolve what it says on your house tile as applicable. The Institute location lets you place 1 of your influence tokens on the Institute space above it. On the die, these 4 icons correspond to the different locations. This is Jupiter, Mars, Luna, and the Institute. If you roll the X on it, you should banish the topmost card of any location you want. Banished cards should sit in a discard pile off the game board. They may come back into play via various card effects. When rolling the purple eye, reveal the top card off the deck and place it on any location. The house tiles in the game may often have a start of game effect, end of game effect, or just the sovereign token effect. For example, the Ceres house starts the game with 1 extra card. The Apollo house starts the game with the starting player token and will have an extra final turn after all players have had equal turns at the end of the game. When gaining or keeping the sovereign token from the Luna location bonus, Luna die roll, or a card stated effect, you'll be able to activate your house tile. First, take the token, then resolve the tile's ability if possible. Generally, the special action given to each house with the sovereign token relates to one of the die faces or location bonuses. There are 11 different colors of character cards that represent 11 castes. The colors are named in the upper right. Each card has a name, color, and core value at the top. The core values score their points for the player at the end of the game. The deploy ability will be a banner near the bottom of the card, shown with the deploy icon on the left. Some cards may have a blocking ability, shown by a shield instead of the deploy icon. The blocking abilities are optional abilities that require you to reveal a card to prevent an opponent doing something to you. At the very bottom, you may see in-game points with a specific requirement. This refers to the other cards in your hand at the end of the game. By the way, if a scoring method refers to an even-numbered core value of other cards, count 0 as an even number. Some character cards have in-game abilities shown by this icon. These occur after everyone's final turns and before final scoring. The left side of the character card often shows solid colors or X'd out colors. This is a quick visual reference that corresponds to the kinds of cards that will help this card score more points, or in the case of the X, cards that you want to avoid having while holding this card. It will match the in-game point scoring methods described at the bottom of the card. Anytime you're told to reveal a card, just show it to the other players. Unless stated otherwise, put the revealed card back in your hand. During the game, some card effects will let you gain cards to your hand, increasing the number you're holding. There's no limit to how many cards you can hold at a time, but you are penalized at the end of the game for holding more than 7. Each card past 7 will be negative 10 points each. However, you'll still get to score those cards. If somehow you end up with no cards in your hand, you can still take the lead or scout action on your turn, but skip the deploy portion of the lead action. Should the deck of character cards run out, do not shuffle the banished cards. No one can draw from it anymore. The deploy abilities of some cards may tell you to end your turn. That means you should not proceed to gain a new card from either the deck or a location as normal with the lead action, nor take a location bonus. Your turn just ends after deploying the card. When a deploy ability lets you move it from a deployed location to a different location, you should still consider the original location as the one you've deployed to. When a card references another location, it's referring to one of the 3 other locations on the board other than where you deployed the card. It's possible for a card's deploy ability to let you deploy another card. You may immediately deploy another card from your hand to any location and gain that card's deploy ability as well. However, you'll only do the last step of the lead action only once, gaining a new card and triggering a location bonus. Lastly, any deploy abilities that result in trading resources may only be done once per turn. When a card says you may treat this card as having the same name as any specific character, or treat it as any one other color, then you may use that card for a scoring requirement found on another card. Some scoring methods call out more or less points for having a specific named card or color of cards. The name of the card being changed doesn't change anything else about it. It won't become a different color or anything. There are 3 conditions of the game state that will cause the game to end. A single player has 7 or more helium tokens, a player has 7 or more influence markers on the Institute, or a player has reached or passed the 7th space on the fleet track with their fleet token. The end of the game will trigger once these 3 conditions are met collectively by all the players, or if one player has met 2 of them. Either way, players should finish taking turns so that each player will have had equal turns during the game. After the player to the right of the one holding the starting player token finishes their turn, everyone's had equal turns. However, if any player in your game is the Apollo house, let them have one final turn after all of this. Now you'll start scoring points on the included score pad. First, each player in turn order will get to resolve all their end-of-game abilities on character cards in their hand. Go clockwise until everyone's resolved all these final abilities. Next, you'll add the core values of all the cards in your hand, plus the endgame points at the bottom of the cards. You'll gain both. Keep an eye on the scoring conditions at the bottom, as you may not end up scoring everything, or maybe get to score the shown points multiple times for each kind of card it references. Some scoring requirements have you check the colors of cards found at various board locations, and others have you count how many banished cards there are at the end of the game. Write everyone's points from their character cards onto the score pad. Next, players will gain points based on where their fleet token is on the fleet track. Just look at the points shown below their token. The maximum points from the fleet track is 43 by being at the 10th space. Then players get 3 points per helium token they've collected. There's no limit to how many tokens someone can collect. Whoever holds the sovereign token at this point will earn an extra 10 points. Now look at everyone's influence markers at the Institute. The player with the most influence will gain 4 points per influence marker they have there. Players score for their own markers only, not others. The player with the second most influence gains 2 points per influence marker. All other players get 1 point per influence marker. Ties are friendly, so if more than one player is tied for the most, they'll both score 4 points per marker. Lastly, subtract 10 points for excess cards players may have. So your 8th, 9th, or 10th cards in your hand would subtract 10 points each from your total score. Write that on the score pad. Then just add everyone's totals together and see who has the most points. Whoever scored the most wins the game. If a tie, the tied player holding the sovereign token wins. If neither of them have it, they'll share the victory. The rulebook says if you score over 300 points, that's a pretty good score. Red Rising has a solo mode, or Toma, where players can compete against an AI named Tull Toma. I'll refer to her as Toma. She has special added components that will control her actions. She ignores just about everything on the character cards, but unless stated in her custom rules, the game will follow all the normal multiplayer rules. So let's go over all the changes and how to set up the Toma. Before setting up a normal 2-player game, do the following AI special setup. First, shuffle the 22 Toma cards to make a face-down deck. Take the top 4 cards off the deck and set it aside for now. Then shuffle the 4 priority cards A, B, C, and D and deal 1 to the top of each board location. A will be used most often, having the highest priority, with D having the lowest. Tuck the unique Luma card below the priority card there, leaving only one of the icons visible. Depending on the priority letter here, the visible icon will be different. The card tells you which location's actions to show. If Luna has the A card, the visible icon should be the action associated with where the D card is. If B is on Luna, then match the location action where the C priority card is, and vice versa for both. Before shuffling the character deck, you'll need to remove a few cards first. These will be out of the game unless doing a variant, which I will describe later. Remove the Auctioneer, Ao, Loan Shark, Psychologist, and Roke from the game. Proceed with setting up the rest of the normal game, but only deal 2 character cards to Toma instead of 5. Her cards should be face down in a stack. Also, don't give her a house assignment or a tile for one. When randomizing a house for yourself, don't use House Ceres for your first couple of plays. It's a recommendation in the rules. Now find the special odd-even card and tuck it partially below the bottom of the game board so only one of them is visible. Look at the core values of the dealt starting cards on the board. Count how many even or odd numbered cards there are. Consider 0 an even number here. Whichever is greater, put that as the one visible. If there's a tie, use even. While playing, some of the game effects that would involve other players affect Toma differently. For example, when activating a deploy ability that lets you steal a card or force her to banish one, always choose the one on the bottom of her stack. When Toma adds a card to her hand or returns one after forced to reveal one, always put it face down on the top. And should you activate an ability that can let her gain something for free, she always will. Since some cards ask you to reveal one or more cards from your own hand to other players, you don't need to worry about that. Just make sure that you have what is needed to do the ability. Anytime Toma gets the Luna location bonus, she will also gain the bonus action visible from the Luna bonus card set up at the beginning of the game. The AI player will have turns as if it were a human player, except its actions and decisions are controlled by its cards. The first step of the AI's turn has you check if there are no cards left in their deck. If so, shuffle all her cards, including the 4 set aside from the beginning of the game, to create a new deck. From the newly created deck, set aside the top 4 cards again like before. Skip this first step if it still has cards in the turn deck. Now draw the 2 topmost Automa cards one at a time and resolve them in the order drawn. Fully resolve the first before moving on to the second. So instead of doing one action like a human player, the AI player does 2 lead actions per turn. The Automa will never do the scout action. Do the actions from top to bottom on the cards. At the top, it tells you about the deploy character card step. Always draw the top card from the character deck, not her hand. Deploy this card on the location shown by the icon in the top row. The deploy ability of the card does not trigger. Next, Toma gains the top card of the location shown in the second row. Look at where the priority card is to see which location to take from. Place the gained card face down on top of her hand. Sometimes extra icons and bonuses are taken if anything is shown in the bottom row of the turn cards. When the star icon is shown, gain the bonus of the location where she just gained a card. If the X icon is shown, banish the top card of the character deck. After resolving both turn cards fully, discard them into a discard pile. You are allowed to look through her discard pile at any time. It is possible for Tull Toma to deploy to and gain from the same location in the same turn. And both cards are resolved even if the first one triggers the end of the game. Should the location where Toma is supposed to gain a card from is empty, look at the arrow icon shown on the turn card. Starting at the empty location, move in the direction of the arrow to the next valid location where a character card is present. She'll take that card instead. If moving past Jupiter or the Institute, just wrap to the other side of the board and keep going to find the first valid location. Sometimes the Automa will gain a bonus that she cannot take. For example, having 10 helium, placed 10 influence cubes out, or reached the 10th space of the fleet track. If this happens, she should gain the location bonus of another location that she can resolve. Use the arrow and direction method like before to find a location with a bonus ability that she can take.
10 is the max for everything for her. When this substitute bonus happens from the Luna bonus card, still give her the Sovereign token in addition to the substitute bonus. When scoring at the end of the game on the normal difficulty, follow this scoring method. She always starts with a base level of points at 70. More points are added to that to increase her final score. Give her points earned from the Fleet Track, earned Helium tokens, Sovereign token bonus points if she has it, and influence points as if she was a human player. Then, instead of scoring her hand of cards like normal, first look for cards in her hand that match the even or odd card placed during setup. Remember that 0 is considered even. These are considered her matching cards. Sort her cards into a stack of the matching cards and unmatched cards. Now you must reduce her hand to 20 total cards. Discard from the non-matching cards first, then from the matching stack until she has 20 cards. If she ended the game with 20 or less cards, skip this part. She'll gain 6 points for each matching card and 3 points for each non-matching. This is how points are scored using the normal difficulty, which the rulebook shows as level 2. For easier or harder difficulty settings, the points are awarded differently for matching and unmatching cards. Just look at the table shown on the last page of the Toma rulebook. Once you've played against the Toma enough that you feel you're doing well against it, this variant is recommended to be added into your solo games. 4 of the 5 removed cards for solo games are now going to be included in the deck of character cards that could come out in the game. These 4 cards will have special deployment rules for you as the human player when doing their deploy ability. When deploying the Auctioneer, roll the Rising die until you roll a bonus that the AI can receive. Give her that bonus. For AO, look at the top 6 cards of her hand, or all of them if less than that. Check for a red card, then put the cards back down in the same order. With the Psychologist, you'll compare her hand of cards with a small calculation. She has the number of cards in her hand divided by 3, rounded down. Calculate this value before reducing her hand to 20 cards. For Roke, look at the top 6 cards of her hand, or all of them if less, to see if she has fewer. When done, shuffle them and return them to the top of her hand. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. Check the video description for links to Top Shelf Gamer for token upgrades, Cloud Puncher Games for board game shelving, and Mr. Meeple t-shirts for cool board gaming shirts. The Meeple Mentor channel is now part of the board game community, the Gateway Network, made up of great upcoming board game content creators. Originally founded by the Gamecasters podcast, the network includes Instagrammers, podcasters, YouTubers, artists, and much more. Click the link in the video's description or head over to the Gateway Network's Instagram to find great new content. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.